Hi, let's talk about something real quick. You see, this rape case is sad, it's disheartening, it is evil. I went in search of a solution and how rape can end totally. You know what I found? I found that it cannot end until there is a worldwide revolution. And that revolution will happen, it will. But before it does, there has to be a way out. Look around you, go down memory lane, look down history, you will find that as long as we can remember the strength that was created to protect the weak of humanity turned around to be the strength that dominates her, that batters her, that enslaves her, that dehumanizes her and rapes her. It has become the strength that she is afraid of. She is in fear. She cannot walk the streets. She cannot be in lonely places without being in fear. The strength that should protect her is the strength that she is afraid of. How sad. Why? Why does this happen? Well, unfortunately, some unfortunate situations result in this. Some boys were victims of prolonged sexual abuse. In fact, most boys, because you may not ever hear about it. But it has an impact on their minds that later in life manifests into this sort of dastardly behavior. And then the world we live in is not even helping matters. Okay, look at the patriarchal socialization that fuels the feeling of entitlement in men. That is another serious issue. I mean, that in itself needs to be debunked. It needs to be ripped off and thrown away. But generation after generation, we keep on churning out men who feel desperately entitled. The media, go on social media, you see rape apologists, even men who should be looked up to, who should be mature, justifying evil. Sexist jokes are flying around everywhere. People laugh, actually laugh at jokes that they cannot take if it were made about their mothers. People support advertisers who exploit sex to sell, objectifying women. People watch movies that feature sexual aggression. And all this is okay. We're feeding our minds with garbage and we expect a society where there will be no rapists. That is not possible. I mean, we should censor what we take in because we are what we feed our minds. So if all these are okay, then we should actually expect that there will be a lot of rapists roaming the streets because a lot that is going on actually objectifies women, portraying them as objects for the sexual pleasure of men. But God made them male and female. Both He endowed with gifts for the blessing of humanity. Both. So, we should implant this view into our boys. Raise boys that have compassion in their hearts for their fellow human beings. Boys that can be at ease with girls and women and have the maturity to keep sex in its place and recognize it for what it is, a tender display of affection between marriage mates. Boys that are mature enough to not think about sex whenever they see a person who is a woman or a girl. We have to sanitize our minds. Yes, on individual basis, sanitize our minds and censor what we let in. Because at the end of the day, that is what forms what we give out. And when you see a mature man who who should be calling out evil for what it is, trying to justify, then you see that we have a very big problem on our hands. Teach boys to respect women. Yes. Do not condone any form of violence. Let them understand that violence is a no-no. And for men who brutalize their wives, and wives who brutalize their husbands, just know that the children in that home are very likely to repeat the same, and also can become rapists in future. So we should teach by example, not saying one thing and doing the other. Children follow actions more than they do words. And so when you are saying one thing and doing the other, they won't trust you and they will tend to follow what you do. It takes special grace for a child who grows up in such an environment to turn out to be good. We should be deliberate about our efforts to do something about this menace. And when I look at the news and see how the perpetrator suddenly disappears from the focus, and the focus is on the victim when it's about rape. But if it is an armed robbery attack, you find that the perpetrators are the focus as much as the victim. But that is not the point. The point is, if we want this to end, we should take practical steps. When we begin to condone some of these negative things, that is where it lands us at the end of the day. And if we are willing to take these practical steps, we can cope. Yes, we can. But until that day when a worldwide revolution will happen and end rape for all eternity, may we never forget that we all are creation. Whether male or female, we all are creation.